Welcome to this training video on creating worksheets and worksheet templates from key skills on Dr. Frost. So we start off by setting a task, and because we're going to be making a worksheet primarily from key skills, we're going to go by topic. Now, obviously, you can choose whichever topic you want. I'm going to make a worksheet on expanding brackets, and I'm just going to focus on expanding a single bracket. So I choose a few key skills that I want my students to practice. Remember that at any stage, if you've read the description and you're not quite sure what that question will entail, then you can click on the example and you can press that refresh button at the top. And this is quite helpful for seeing the kind of variation that the students are going to get for that particular key skill. Now, this key skill also requires the students to be able to collect like terms. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a key skill on collecting like terms as well. So I'm going to go into formula and simplifying expressions. And let's add K80D to my selection. So my selection appears at the top right, and we can see that last key skill that I added appears at the bottom. So if you want to, you can always drag and change the position or change the order of your key skills if you need to. So we're focusing in this video on just making the worksheet. So I'm going to go and press set a task. And what I want to do is choose fixed questions, because on Dr. Frost, a worksheet means that everybody gets the same set of questions. I press continue, and then I need to decide how many questions I want in total. So I'm going to have 20 questions, which means I'll get 5 of each subskill. I'm going to say no, I don't want the questions to interleave, because in this case, I actually want each key skill to follow on from the one before. When I press generate, I now get taken to a worksheet template, and this is still completely editable for you as a teacher. So you get the option just to change any questions that don't quite fit. So for example, maybe question 5, I might like to swap with question 3 just because that looks a little bit easier. I may want to have a little look at regenerating some of these questions if they're not quite what I'm looking for. So for example, perhaps question 15, I'm just going to use the refresh button there and see if I can get something a little bit more challenging. Possibly that -4 feels a bit more challenging to me. If I decide that I've got too many of a particular question, so maybe I think actually 5 questions on expanding and simplifying is possibly a bit too many, then I can use the X and I can remove a couple of the questions if I felt it was necessary. The other thing you've got when you get to the bottom of your template is the option to either add further key skills, or you could add exam questions. So I'm going to press that plus sign for the exam question, and then I can just click into the box that's appeared, and now I can filter, get to the questions that are to do with expanding brackets, and then I can choose a few exam questions to add as a bit of challenge at the end of the worksheet. So you can see I can click on these exam questions and very quickly browse through what's on offer. I can see the different difficulties. So this red one here is a difficulty 3 question, and that looks quite good to me. So I'm going to use this question. I'm going to click add one more exam question. This time my location is saved, so I don't have to filter again, but I will use the drop down on the difficulty, and I'm just going to look at difficulty 3 questions, browse through these and find one that I think looks appropriate for my students. That one looks quite good. So I'll use this question. And actually, I think I might swap the order of those as well. Okay, once I'm happy with my worksheet, then I now save the worksheet, and this will mean that it will appear in my directory for me to use time and again. So I'm going to call this expand a single bracket with exam practice. It will always default as a location to save into your directory. If you want to click into this and save it in a shared area, then you can. So we press submit, and that is now saved. Now, obviously from here, you can go ahead and set the task. If you need support on running through the different options available when you set a task, please have a look at some of the other videos. Another thing to point out on the right-hand side is you've got this option to download the worksheet once it's been saved. So if you download that, it will export to a Microsoft Word document. You can obviously edit it further if you wanted to, and you will be supported with the answers as well. Okay, I'm now going to press the home button and we'll just check that we're happy that we know where that worksheet is now appearing. So there's two places that you can go to find your worksheets. You can either go to My Worksheets in the Work section just here where my mouse is hovering, or you can go up to the menu and you can go into Papers and Worksheets like this. So this is my directory and there is that worksheet, expand a single bracket with exam practice. So I could click into that at a later date if I wanted to. And here's the worksheet, and I can very quickly go through the process of setting that as a task. So that's worksheets and how to make a worksheet primarily from a starting point of key skills. Another thing I want to show in this video is how to make a worksheet template. So if I just go back into the worksheets for a moment and I'll just demonstrate what I mean by a worksheet template. This cog symbol here, this one is a worksheet template, this SERDS Retrieval Year 11. And if I click into that, what you see is that the template is not populated, but I've got this option up on the top left-hand side to generate. So if I press generate, then I'm going to get questions on SERDS and it's going to be retrieval for my year 11s. So this is how easy it can be to just quickly make a worksheet for your students if you've already gone through the process of choosing a particular set of key skills that you want your students to practice. So if I go through the process of showing you how to do that, I'll do it with the same set of questions. So set a task by topic, and then I'll just make that same selection again, but this time I'll show you how to make the worksheet template. So here's my key skills. Quickly move that one back up to the top again. Setting a task. Again, maybe I'll do slightly less questions. This time I'll do 3 of each sub-skill. I'll still keep them uninterleaved, and I generate. Now at this stage, I'm not so interested in what's actually come up as my questions on the right-hand side. It's the top left-hand side that I'm interested in. So this is talking about a new template. And I've got this option here. It says Save Options. And if I hit that drop down, then I get to save this template. So I'm going to choose Save Template As, and I'm going to call it Expand a Single Bracket. And perhaps I'm kind of thinking that the way that I would be using this is to do it with retrieval. So I press OK, and this has been saved successfully. Now again, if I go to my worksheets, then now that cog is appearing, and this is a very quick way for me to go into that and generate the set of questions that I could now go ahead and set to my classes. So this is the option to make a worksheet template, and you may find that it's really helpful or useful if you're going to set the same kind of questions, particularly if you're thinking about retrieval practice with your students.